If you were wandering through a meadow on a calm sunny morning and you spotted a field mouse carefully kneeling among the flowers, labelling little packets of seeds and placing them carefully into a basket, would you stop to watch? Tonight, Roscoe the Cottontail Bunny and his friends discover that even the smallest of actions, planting seeds, labelling packets, and noticing the world around you, can ripple quietly through the woodland. Roscoe strolled contentedly along the sun-warmed path, paws brushing the feathery tips of long grasses. Berry and Millie Moonbeam followed, Caratina a little behind, carrying a small knapsack full of fresh apples and a flask of elderflower cordial. The morning felt still, except for the occasional trill of a blackbird or the soft rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. The bunnies reached the place by the hedgerow where the paths went off in different directions. "Where shall we explore today?" Roscoe asked. "Let's see what's down in the meadow," Berry suggested, hopping lightly over a patch of moss. They had walked only a little way when Berry's nose whiskily quivered and his ears twitched. "Look," he whispered, pointing with a small paw. Near the edge of the meadow, amongst the buttercups and daisies, knelt a tiny figure, a field mouse, coat soft and tawny, tiny paws moving gracefully. Before her was a woven basket full of little paper envelopes, each labelled in looping, careful handwriting. She knelt there, plucking seed heads from the flowers that had gone over, and gently opened them up. Then she took one of her little envelopes and poured the seeds inside, and tucked the flap inside to seal it up. Roscoe looked on, whiskers quivering. "She's labelling seeds," he said. The field mouse looked up at the sound of their approach, but she didn't startle. "Good morning, bunnies," she said, voice soft as moss. "I didn't hear you come along the path. My name is Mabel Seedling." "Good morning, Mabel," said Millie Moonbeam politely. "We didn't mean to interrupt." "Not at all," said Mabel Seedling, brushing a tiny strand of hair from her whiskers. "I'm just making sure these seeds go where they're needed." Berry stepped closer, curious. "Where is that?" he asked. "Some fields have grown bare," Mabel Seedling explained. "So I collect seeds from meadows that are still full and healthy, and I bring them to places where the earth needs them. These packets," she lifted one gently between her paws, "are ready for planting tomorrow." Roscoe's eyes widened. "Do you travel far?" "Quite far," she said. "I follow the rivers and paths, neither slow nor hurrying fast. The old woodland trails take me to places forgotten as though in the past. Each seed I collect has a place it should go. I plant them in the soil and let the earth take care of the rest." The bunnies watched as she worked, labelling the envelopes with the name of the meadow and the flower in curlingly elegant writing, placing them in neat rows in her basket, and then on to choosing the next seed head to pluck. Caratina whispered to Roscoe, "She's very organised, and quiet too." "Yes," said Roscoe, "but see how each movement matters." Berry leaned forward. "Can we help?" Mabel Seedling smiled. "If you like, you can help me gather poppy seeds. I need plenty for where I'm planting next." Excited to help, the bunnies cheerfully trotted off into the meadow, looking for the dried round seed pods of once ruby-red poppies. They found plenty, bobbing and swaying on slender stalks, and plucked them off one by one. When they had gathered enough, they wandered back to where Mabel Seedling was working quietly. She handed them an envelope each, and with great care the bunnies opened the poppy's seed pods and poured the tiny black round seeds into the envelope. They passed the envelopes to Mabel Seedling, and she labelled them in her delicate blue ink. "Meadow by the willow tree," she wrote, then underneath, "poppy seeds." She placed the envelopes in her basket and sat back. "I think I have enough for planting," she said. Mabel Seedling paused and looked at the bunnies. "You see," she said softly, "even the smallest bit of care helps the woodland. Every seed planted is a promise, and every promise keeps the woods alive for tomorrow." Roscoe nodded, twirling a buttercup in his paw. "It's a good sort of work, quiet and steady and kind." "Yes," said Mabel Seedling, "that's all it needs to be. Enough to let the earth do its part, enough to let those who come after enjoy the result." The bunnies lingered a little longer, helping to tidy away empty seed pods and envelopes. Caratina took out her flask of elderflower cordial, and the little friendly group enjoyed a drink while they sat amongst the meadow flowers, the sun warming their whiskers. Each of the bunnies felt a gentle warmth in their chest, the quiet satisfaction of knowing they had made a difference, however small. When they were ready to leave, Mabel Seedling lifted a small envelope, held it out to Roscoe. There was no writing, no label. "For you," she said. "Plant it in the little garden by your cottage. I think you'll enjoy seeing it grow." Roscoe took it carefully. "We'll take care of it and look forward to seeing what appears as it grows out of the ground," he promised. "And we'll remember what you taught us today, that even the smallest hands can help in the right way." Mabel Seedling gave a polite nod. "You're very welcome. And remember, if you ever find a bare patch or a dry corner, just a little care, you can bring it back to life." As the bunnies walked home along the sun-dappled path, they felt a gentle quiet spreading through them. The trees seemed to notice they had cared, rustling leaves as if in approval. Mabel Seedling would continue her work, unseen by most, but shaping the meadows for seasons to come. That evening, back at the cottage, the bunnies sat down to a small supper of butternut squash soup and sourdough bread from Nash's bakery. Roscoe took out the envelope Mabel Seedling had given them. Inside were oval, plump seeds ready for planting. He held them for a moment, thinking of the quiet morning, the careful pause, the packets labelled with hope, and the path that carried them there. "Tomorrow," he said softly, "we'll plant these where the garden is bare. We'll let the earth do the rest." Berry smiled. "It feels like we were part of something bigger." Millie Moonbeam nodded. "Even when we do just a little, it matters." Outside, the wind stirred through the trees. Somewhere along the woodland trail, a field mouse was carrying a woven basket, quietly, steadily moving through the woodland like a gentle promise. And inside the cottage, patchwork quilts tucked under chinnigans, and with a friendship ear to hold, the bunnies dreamed of meadows full of flowers, rivers running clear, and the quiet satisfaction of helping the meadows grow. All was snug. All was well. Night, night.